is your best friend again, Carrie. Welcome everyone to Zen Bitch Slap, Paul Hedderman. Not take, but just his sharing on the exact nature of the wrong. This is not an AA meeting, and it's not an all share, but people are more than happy, or you're more than willing to go ahead and share if you feel like it. What am I trying to say, Paul?
Well, you're more than
I'm
welcome.
just going to turn it over to Mr. Hedderman and listen, and thanks everyone.
All right. Well, nice. Thank you, Kerry. And also, this is not an AA meeting. Be clear about that. This is just one member's recognition of the exact nature of the wrong. It seems like we always come back to this point because
Okay, just hush. Yeah, yeah, shut up.
I humbly
Yeah,
believe
just.
these kids know what they're doing, Mike. Yeah. They're way beyond.
Yeah, I seem to be out.
They're way beyond our ability with the computer. Yeah. Yeah. They're probably 11 years old. They want to just say fuck to an audience. Wow. It's wild. The aspirations are strange, eh? Can you imagine? I want to break into a Zoom meeting and say fuck. Wow. That would be about 800,000 on my list of what to do. But whatever, I hope I hope the funny thing is, if they really need to come to an AA or a recovery meeting, they probably won't want to come. So this is a good time to plant the seed through the reverse mojo of a Zoom bombing. Yeah. The one who bombed gets bombed. Yeah, not bad. Yeah. Yeah. You may need us down the road when you're down and out looking for a refrigerator box to sleep in. Yeah. Yeah. You won't have Wi-Fi there. You'll be perpetually bombed out. Yeah. Oh, I wish I could Zoom bomb. I mean, the head will occupy us with so much shit. Literally. Can you imagine? I could go out in the trees, take a walk. No, I think I'll just Zoom bomb all day. All right. I haven't seen what the weather has been or is for 5 or 6 days. Zoom bombing. The head is amazing, yeah? And there is an addiction the head is in. You may not know it because that's the addiction the head is in, yeah? Like it says in our book of recovery, a lot of shit happens without us knowing it. So without knowing it, it goes in and describes tons of shit. Yeah, so you would imagine that if you knew it, maybe things could be different, yes? So if a lot of the effects of the defeat from active addiction and the original addiction, the head's addiction to self, if a lot of that goes on based on without us knowing it, well, maybe with us knowing it, things could change, yeah? And really, with us knowing it is really the material that's brought to step 6 and 7. So instead of being based on something without ever knowing it, we now know what we used to be based on, which is self. Yeah. And when that base presents its story, which it will, we have a recognition, finally, it's not us. Yeah. You know how simple this is, but how profound it can be? Because without knowing it is the key for a lot of the defeat. Yeah. Just like it says, people are extremely self-centered, but they don't think so. You see, this is the dilemma. If you really got how self-centeredness the condition was, it would probably move you somewhere other than when you're in denial of it. Yeah. So denial is one of the greatest masking agents of the addiction. The person who's under the addiction doesn't know it, really. That's incredible, isn't it? How many people, usually if someone, the first person in, let's say, a little group who comes down with cancer, it's usually that person will be the first person in the group that knows he has cancer. Yeah. But with addiction, the person who's in addiction is the last person to know. What does this stuff lead you to? Just don't take it on face value. Be led by it. Yeah. This is the point. Yeah. The head doesn't go A, B, C, D, E. Yes. It makes a leap. All right, it's a simple combination of words without knowing it, but it means so freaking much. Yeah. How much is going on without us knowing it? Yeah. And so without us knowing it as a basis, it doesn't look like it's going to get better. Yes. So maybe with us knowing it, it will move us to practice or surrender, or at least show up for a new design for living. Yeah. And this living is, you are now going to know what has defeated you by doing a simple inventory, step 4. Yeah. And it's going to be this idea of self. And instead of it saying, without knowing it, actually, you could see this. Without knowing it, self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. Now we're at the point being convinced self manifesting in various ways is what has defeated us. Incredibly different, yes? Without knowing it, self's manifesting in various ways is constantly defeating us without us knowing it. Because every defeat, we take it to be ours, yes? Everything that we've done, we've been the doer of. This is the bondage of self. The bondage of self isn't like you to a radiator, yeah, via a handcuff. No, that is not the bondage of self. The bondage of self is you're in an open air prison with no locks on the door. They don't need any surveillance cameras because everything that happens, you think you're doing it. Yes? So you constantly relive the mental sentence of being fucked. Yes? You've given up probation or parole because you know it's not going to work. So there's no guards, no doors, but you're bound to this idea of self. You're bound to it in what you call your life. So as you're walking through the day, you're bound to self. This is it. Please relieve us of the bondage of self. When does that start happening? When we know it, yes? When we are convinced that self is what has defeated us, is what opens up the possibility of being free from it. Without knowing it, lends itself to the constant and the future defeat of it. Yeah. The pivot point, just like the pivot point in all the effects of recovery, is losing interest in self. The pivot point of being defeated without knowing it and then being convinced that self is what has defeated you is the huge turning point. Yes? Yes. So these things that we said aren't like, you don't stop entertaining it when the sentence has a period at the end. The mind goes to it. You go back to your own evidence of the defeating of you in this life. You go back to it. So without knowing it is an incredible thing. Another thing that's incredible, Bill W. says, if you look at wherever you are, it's completely based on faith. What? Did you, when you were at that bar in 6 a.m, let's say in Market Street here in San Francisco, there is absolutely no way you would have clearly defined what was happening by going, faith has brought me to this fucking bar. You would have no fucking clue. It wouldn't even get close. You would think, oh, they dropped me off here, or I like drinking at 6 a.m. with a lot of bums. Yes? I want to play some pool and it's the only place that's open. That's all bullshit. Faith brought you there. Faith in the head, faith in self. What? Yeah, that's the diagnosis in our book. No, I don't see it. Go to page 53, the bottom of it, and read the top of page 54, and then get back to us. Yeah? You will realize faith has something to do, every moment you've ever been in, faith has a lot to do with it. Did you know that? Do you know you're a demonstration of faith? I don't mean of faith, yeah? Wearing like a robe or a hat like a nun in Catholicism. No, not that kind of recognition, but faith, yeah? Because faith is what has defeated us, literally. Faith in that which has failed us, this system of self-centeredness, faith in that is the vehicle of our defeat. I'm going to read it here. I don't have a special freaking big book. Yeah. I don't have the esoteric rewriting and rearranging of the cryptic message of recovery. No, this is a typical AA big book, which I never heard this passage ever being emphasized in any book study, ever. Yet, it's one of the most important parts where he goes here, and we agnostics, it's going to describe really what's happening. The last paragraph, it's talk, you could read the ones previous, and it will explain why it says that was natural. Yeah, but let us think a little more closely. Wow. So, yes, the lens we're investigating our life with is going to become magnified, yeah? It says, this is the point, it's necessary. But let us think a little more closely. How do you think more closely? Tell me. Am I thinking far now? And then now, I'm thinking more closely. I don't know. Looking, I would say. We're going to look more closely. We're going to bring awareness to a lot of shit was going on without us knowing it. Yeah. And here's one of the most, this is the engine of everything. Without knowing it, here we go again. Without knowing it, had we not been brought to where we stood by a certain kind of faith. Page 53 of the big book of recovery. At the bottom of it, we agnostics. Yeah. For did we not believe in our own reasoning? So isn't that having faith in the thoughts that are being played in the head? Well, let's call it the narration. The narration of what you call your life that we're listening to. Is there faith in that? And didn't that faith lead me to fucking destitution, incomprehensible, pitiful demoralization? Wasn't but faith that I was brought there, faith in these thoughts that told me no matter what, it's better to be loaded right now today because nothing's ever going to work out for you. Yeah? Fuck it. You're never going to get better, so let's get worse. That's faith, yes? Did we not have confidence in our ability to think? They're saying it in a lot of ways, yeah? It's basically describing faith in the thoughts that you're hearing. Yeah? What was that but a sort of faith? Yes. Sort of faith, an energetic force, that kind of faith, yeah? Not a religion or a sect or cult, but faith as an energetic force. Yeah. Yet we had been faithful. Wow. Now we're telling the truth. Abjectly faithful to the God of reason. That God of reason is what's playing God on our ass. Yeah. Right now, up in the head, something is playing God. They're calling it the God of reason. You can call it whatever. Most of us are calling it Paul or Jim or Mary, whatever you're named. Yeah. And that God of reason is leading us to fucking some insane decisions based on self and everything else. Yeah. So in one way or another, what a beautiful conclusion. Yeah. So in one way or another, wow. So basically, invariably, they use it somewhere else. Invariably, here they're going, well, in one way or another, we discovered that faith had been involved all the time. Is right now included in the statement all the time? Is the past included in the statement all the time? Is what we call the future included in the statement all the time? How many things are included in all the time? It's a pretty big statement, don't you think? Yeah. So this faith is included all the time. In other words, everything that's going on, there's an aspect of faith in everything that's going on. Wow. And how is the faith manifesting? In the vehicle it is put in. So if there's faith in the God of reason, you're fucked in the world of what's not happening. Yes? You're sitting here right now, but your head is more absorbed in reminiscing about yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. Yeah? And what's illuminating that dead bulb is faith. Yeah? Because you're not in yesterday, nor are you in tomorrow. Yeah? There'll be enough light when tomorrow becomes today and yesterday, well, was never going to become today. Yes? The light that shines today. But if faith is directing it, it can shine on yesterday and tomorrow. Wow. To the point that light, that faith given to yesterday, tomorrow will override the experience of today. Haven't you seen it? Haven't you sat in a meeting and someone's flipping out and you're not, and most of the other people aren't, and then they share, and you remembered when you left the house, it was July 28th, and they have something on August 15th that they're super flipped out about, but it's on July 28th. Yeah. Now, is it helpful to talk for hours about August 15th on July 28th? Or would it be more compassionate to say you're in July 28th? Because the solution for August 15th can only be found in July 28th if you're in July 28th. Yes? You're not going to find it in August 15th because you're not there, or past August 15th years ago because you're not there. Yeah? The solution to the problem of August 15th is now. Yes? I know every one of us walk and we take it for granted, but we walk differently. A lot of people, like I have a limp, some other people, yes, they have a quick gait, a slow gait, but who really goes around thinking about their walking? Probably not much. Yeah, even with me, with the leg, I needed to think a lot about the walking because there was a lot of time I wasn't walking, I was in a wheelchair, hospital bed, crutches. So walking, I had to learn how to re-walk, which was, yeah. But immediately, very quickly, it becomes, oh, that's just walking. No, pay attention, yes? We're living in a lot of ways that we're not paying attention to. Yeah. We may be living by the God of reason. That has failed us. Yeah. And our faith has been given over to something that doesn't deserve the faith. It's not reliable. Yeah. And then our life has to be full of excuses and rationales and blaming others to disguise the failure of the system we're relying on. Obviously. Yeah. And faith, even though we know better, without knowing better, the faith keeps going to the God of reason. Yeah. People showing up at a meeting today is probably usually based on the God of reason. If reason has finally been kicked into it by a design for living, you're going to not think about going to a meeting. You're going to think which one. Yes, because you'll be in the habit of being sober. And the best way the action figure can stay healthy is through habit, habit, habit. So the faith is now going into the program of recovery, not that which has defeated us. I've been under this propulsion for 36 years of sobriety. I recognize it. If you've been moved by something for 36 years, you should fucking recognize it sooner or later. Yes? I mean, there should be some clarity about what has defeated you and what has saved you by now. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's got to be some recognition. Remember, right here, not coming from us, we did not write this. There's no ghostwriting here. It says very simply, without knowing it, had we not been brought to where we stood by a certain kind of faith. When you're fucked, you're brought there by faith. When you're fucking illuminated, you've been brought there by faith. Yes? You don't arrive anywhere without faith. And then someone says, well, I don't believe. You have faith in that. Yeah. I don't believe I have faith. There's faith in that. Yeah. You can't get before faith. You're after faith. Faith is the force that's moving us. Yeah. Without knowing it, had we not been brought to where we stood by a certain kind of faith? For did we not believe in our own reasoning? This is the trusting finite self. Yeah. This is the clear description of perhaps there's a better way. They're now describing the other way, which is trusting finite self. Yeah. Faith in finite self has put you in the position you're in. Are you happy about it or aren't you happy about it? Yeah. Because the faith is going to manifest by the vehicle it's put in. Faith is like a neutral fuel. It can either fuel like the ambulance or fuel something else. Yes. It's just a fuel. It's where it goes. Where is it directed to is going to be where it manifests. Do you believe there was faith in the thoughts of alcoholism, the alcoholic thoughts in your life? Do you believe that when it told you that the day was going to suck, you acted as if that was so? Yes or no? Let's diagnose if faith has been involved all the time. So here, what was that but a sort of faith? Yes. Here's the admittance. Yeah. We had been faithful, abjectly faithful. Look up the word abjectly, please. Yeah. I'm going to give an assignment today. Look up the word abjectly and have it. Yes, not only we have been faithful, abjectly faithful. Yes, this is extreme self-centeredness, selfishness. Yeah. In this God of reason. So in one way or another, we discovered that faith had been involved all the time. You can do a lot of recognition just following this paragraph. You can. It's a hidden gem in the big book. You can ask a question. Did faith bring me constantly back to that drink? Yes, it did. You can't blame the faith. It was what was directing the faith. The head was directing the faith, and it was using the faith to defeat you. There you go. Faith is neutral. It's like a dog that never had an owner. Whoever whistles, that's going to be the owner of the dog. Yes? The dog is neutral. It's going to go home with anyone. But there's got to be someone that goes, come on. Yes? The head has been whistling for this fucking faith and directing it and using it to defeat us. What does defeat look like? Bondage of self. Faith is like the glue that's used to bind us to self. Truly, yeah? And what's doing it? Right where the problem resides, the head. That's where the problem resides. Yeah, that's where the God of reason is. Its platform isn't the elbow. It's not the intestinal tract. It's the head. Yeah, it's yapping constantly. It would be great if you could have that head transported into a bird that's yapping all day in your room and then fucking let that bird fly out. I bet you if you open the windows, it wouldn't leave. It would just sit there, keep shitting on you. Yeah. It says it wants freedom. It doesn't want fucking freedom. It wants to bind you to the idea that you're not free. That's what it wants to do. Yeah. So, I mean, I shot coke with the hope of being free for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's how it's shrunk down to. All the vagueness of the defeat shrunk down to me shooting large amounts of coke, sometimes in the neck because it would be faster to the brain and the heart, with the hopes that I'd pass away and hopefully be free for 30 seconds before the body died. Yeah, really. That's where it went. It went that far. And I took it as a fucking religion. I did. Did it start like that when I was 12 years old and had the drink in the dugout after the night game of Little League? No, it didn't start like that. It ended like that, though. Yes? Yeah. So it's so important, in my view, to sort of see what defeated you and to see it's not you, because it's living as if it is, and it's talking as if it is, and it's interpreting as if it is. Yeah. And we're being fed an interpretation of life that doesn't fit us, especially now that we've been sober a while. Jesus Christ. Yeah. That old skin has shedded a few times. So, yeah. And we're here every week, and we'll be here as long as people show up, because I really, truly believe if you don't see this, you're looking from it. If you don't see this, you're going to be looking without knowing it. Yeah. Yes. Wow. And look at where it takes us when we're in the condition of without knowing it. It can take us to a lot of fucking terrible situations. Yeah. Yeah. And everyone knows the situations and they complain about them and bitch about them, but they're still in a condition of without knowing it. What has defeated them? They're not in the condition of knowing what has defeated them. Yeah. So you can know where it happened, how long it lasted, what were the, the miscellaneous objects there and all that, but you're missing the exact nature of the situation. What has defeated you? How? Through faith. What? The head. Clear. We're offering it to you. It's like sometimes you get those beanies and it's one size fit all. Yeah. You look up, hey, is this extra large? It says one size fit all. You have faith in that. You put it on. And wow, how could one size fit all? You would think, but it does. Here you go. I think this is for an alcoholic head and an alcoholic life, one size fits all. It does. Yeah. See if it gets, wouldn't you love the problem not existing for you and allowing that to get established? Wouldn't you love to have that fucking problem resolved a day at a time? There's so much more to get into. And if you're constantly having to deal with this, you're not available to deal with a lot of other shit. This is where I emotionally grew up, was in recovery. When I came in, I was still like a 13 or 14-year-old. Yeah. I had to go through a lot of shit to emotionally recover, because my emotions were like frozen into one condition. Yeah. And then disassociation and denial, living like that. You're afraid to rub one shoulder, and your solution is don't rub any shoulders. That doesn't fucking work. Yeah. We got to learn how to face life successfully. And a lot of that facing life was an emotional event for me. Yes. I was afraid to put myself out there because of rejection or disappointment. I thought it would kill me. I learned that at my first AA dance, which was actually my last AA dance. That first AA dance I went to, at that point, I was about a couple of months sober. I was drinking tons of Calistoga in any social situation. That would have been beer before, just trying to keep myself occupied doing something. There we are. And I was on the men's side, and then across there was a disco ball and an empty dance floor, and the women's were over there. No one was making a move whatsoever. So the men's side decided I should be like the first scout, send me over to the women's side. And I walked, and I felt like the disco ball was like a spotlight. Everything was on me. And I had liked this girl from afar, and she was over there. So I went up to her and I asked her to dance, and she said no. I thought it was going to kill me. And then I turned around, and that dance floor looked like a minefield. I had to walk, and I had been defeated and shit like that. I got over to the other side, but I learned it didn't kill me. Yeah. Rejection didn't kill me. So now I started learning I could ask for things, and it was all right if people said no, where before I just never fucking asked. Yeah. Seriously. I mean, every feeling had been stunted because of the outcome I thought was going to happen. This is faith in the head. It was killing me. I was like a walking coffin. I was vertical, but I was somewhat dead. And I took these little steps, got my feelings hurt, got my pride hurt and shit like that. Because remember, in AA, when I went to AA, they said, hey, bro, you got to be willing to save your ass instead of your face. I actually thought my face was my ass. I did. The image of Paul was a very fragile crystal. I was very afraid of anything hurting it or touching it. It was insane. Yeah. You cannot believe how much pride you can have as a cocaine addict. It's insane. Shooting coke, the hierarchy was based on who could handle the tweak. That was truly it. Because people usually would break after a day or two, and they'd start looking underneath the doors or through the shades or the planers, and they would be they'd stay in the minor leagues. They weren't in the major leagues. You know what I mean? You wouldn't get high with them anymore. And then other master tweakers would come from other little drug circles and meet each other, and then we'd have a big fucking marathon. 7 to 10 days shooting coke. Who's gonna break first? Getting on all fours, looking through the crack of the door, see if there's shoes on the other side. This is insane. A head was extracting pride from there. I swear to God. I thought I was a bigwig in those fucking cocaine shooting circles. I was renowned for holding my shit. It was insane. Yeah. So there is a solution. Come on, join us, yes? Get the clarity about the exact nature of the wrong and then get on with it. And just see how many dominoes get knocked down when you have the clarity of the exact nature of the wrong. Yeah. There's going to be a resounding sound of connection when you really hit pay dirt and recognize that which has defeated you is not you. It is not you. It's not a bad side of you. It's not a good side of you. It's not you. Yeah. I don't know what you are, and I wouldn't tell you if I did, because the fun is the joy of finding out what you're not, and through that, finding out what you are is great. Yeah. I would never steal that from anybody. Yeah. It's really the concrete that sets up the foundation of the problem not existing as you anymore. It is. It's the concrete. Yeah. So, like it or not, here we are, Tuesday, Thursdays. It's an invitation. It's rooted in the book. If you want, we can, there's the pages and the paragraphs. You can check it out. But I think the word self is quite vague in our community, and I think it needs to be a little more specific. And really, hopefully, the biggest point we try to get across is the foreignness of what has defeated you. Because if you see it as not you, the possibility of being able to be free from it will be reestablished. That has been fucking just hijacked by the head. You're trying to be free as self, aren't you? In most cases. And the freedom is from self. So you can go 800 descriptions, but really the root of it is either you're being free as self or free from self. Free as self is the bondage of self. Free, free from self is relief. Yeah. And you'll know the truth from the relief it offers, really. Yeah. That's my take. It's not even my take, It's something that's come through. And no matter how long it comes through, I never mistake it as, I never take it to be me. Yeah. It's a power that's greater than what I can comprehend as me. I can comprehend a picture of a body and shit as me. I can't comprehend spirit as me. I can't. Yeah. I have to just find that out. The mystery just unfolds because I'm trying to find out what I am or know what I am from what I'm not. I can only know shit from what I'm not, yeah? Knowing that, I now find out a lot about shit. Not from self, yeah, but from what we call the innermost, or that place where there's, intuition and fucking shit like that. Yeah. An unsuspected inner resource for all of us. So now I'm completely, I'm way past the point of suspecting the inner resource. Yeah. So, all right, thank you. Anyone have anything you want to share or anything about it? The description's on page 64 of what we're using as the exact nature of the wrong. I think around the third paragraph starts with being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. Goes into the inventory process. If you want to do a different inventory process than you did when you first came in for 5 minutes, where you don't look at resentments as yours, you look at resentments as manifestations of self in one's life, I would recommend that. Yeah. Seeing resentments as yours brought some relief, but seeing resentments as not yours will bring a lot of more relief. I'll tell you the truth. Yeah. The longest living resentment is domesticated. There's no wild resentments that live 60 years. They've got to be in the cage of my resentment to live that long because you're feeding them. You're fucking grooming them. No, no wild resentment lives that long. It doesn't. It doesn't have the oomph. Unless you get really super pissed and act out right away, it usually dissipates quickly, yeah? It's hoping to get you to buy the product like in the first second or the first 30 seconds, yes? If you don't do anything and trust this process, it wanes, doesn't it? Because it takes a lot of work to keep breathing life into a resentment, doesn't it? And after a while, you're like slackers. I don't fucking want to. It takes me it's just too much work to keep hating this person or something. It's just, I'd rather just lay down and chill out. It just is, it's not virtue. It's just pragmatic. I'm just tired. Why do I want to keep huffing and puffing and blow this this imaginary house up? Yeah, yeah. So I let resentments roam free. Yes. My head resents to this day. It does. It does. It resents it has a bad foot. It doesn't realize its role for that bad foot to have occurred. It hasn't taken responsibility for that. It hasn't. And it bitches, of course. It had a shoe fetish that got totally derailed when I have one weird foot. I can't. I've seen so many beautiful shoes I would have loved to have bought in the last 36 years. Yeah. I would look really, oh, oops, can't go there. That's not me. It's almost like a comedy skit. If it's me, fuck. I'll be trying to put my bad foot into every boot, cowboy boot. You're getting in there. Even though it doesn't fit. I don't give a shit. You're getting in there. No, it doesn't. That's not how it goes now. Yeah. There's been a fitting around circumstances instead of trying to fit them around me. My poor little foot doesn't get jammed into a cowboy boot. Just doesn't. Of course the head's going to get resentful, but you're not the head. Don't you see? If you keep trying to make the head change something it can't change, yeah, you're not working with AI. You're working with a fixed program. Yeah. It looks at everything with, I'm afraid I'm going to lose what I have and not get what I want. Basically, that's where it goes. Yeah. It's like, this is a way old dog. It's not going to, it can't learn new tricks. It barely can just stay sober and not flip out every day. Yeah. So, but this is not about, I have no resentments. That which has resentments, I'm not. That's actually how I see it. Yeah. That which is afraid all the time is now not is completely courageous. No, it's still afraid a lot of the time. I'm not that. Yeah. Yes, you see it. This isn't getting a rejuvenated, rehabilitated, perfectly formed self. It's recognizing the limitations of it and finding your peace and your recognition not in it, but in the spirit. Yeah. So acceptance will greet the impossibilities of you being perfect. Yes. Acceptance instead of fucking condemnation and beating and whatever. Yes. Fuck it. Yeah. This isn't, oh, I live in a resentment-free zone. I live in a head-free zone. Yeah. If you wanted to visit the head, it's having resentments, probably. For sure. Yeah. That's what it does. It looks at life from a separate view. It doesn't see it's just another you. It sees it as a special me. Yeah. So I can't even learn from all the other yous because I don't see them as me. I'm a special you. And millions of people are in the same condition. They're thinking their you is special and they're calling it me and I'm calling it me and we're colliding. all our agendas. Yeah, it's insane. There's a solution. Hallelujah. There is a solution. Let that sink in. There is a solution. And the solution is so incredible, the problem will not exist for you. Wow. Yeah. A lot of stain removers never present, there will never be another stain. They don't. And even though in the world of stain removers, they're good, they will remove the stain, but they cannot promise there won't be ever another stain. We're being promised the problem will not exist for us. Hallelujah. What an incredible deal. A day at a time, an hour at a time, whatever. Yeah, it may start little, it'll stretch out longer. You may have years at a time. You will. Yeah. You may have the rest of your life a day at a time. So yeah, there's a solution. I hope this helps. Take a, if you want, anyone wants to share, great. And we're all in this together. Yeah. Anyone, Mike? If not, we'll just sit here in that lovely pause and give great thanks to what has done for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. Let's admit that, eh?
Hey, Paul, I was looking at when you were on page 54, my eyes glanced down to the bottom of the page, the very last paragraph on page 54. It says exactly what you were saying earlier. If you don't believe Paul, it says it in the book. It says, hence we saw that reason isn't everything. Neither is reason, as most of us use it, entirely dependable. And but for the longest time, I always thought, meaning how those voices were in my head and those thoughts were coming from so-called me, I thought that I had to listen to them. And it wasn't until I got permission that, I don't have to listen to those voices. And for some, I don't know why that's so important to me, but I had to be given permission to not listen to the thoughts in my own head.
Yes, yes.
And what a relief that's been. So thank you.
Bondage in a way is a withholding. So we're withheld from a lot of possibilities. And when that's changed, it feels like a permission has been given. Yeah. It's sort of like when the drill sergeant would walk, all the people are at attention and he'd go at ease. Yeah. So then the drill sergeant gives them the permission to be at ease. They all have the ability to be at ease, but until they get that permission, they're standing like stick, like a stick figure. Well, yeah, this is what recovery gives us. It gives us permission to be okay. Not to earn okayness, but to be okay. And it gives us permission to be forgiven. Wow. Yeah. It gives us a lot of permission, a whole lot of permission. And that's how you can tell, how you really tell the bondage of self is by the relief from it. Yeah. Really. That's where you really learn about the bondage, because the bondage really depends on us without knowing it. Yeah. We need to be in the dark for it to continue to do what it's doing. If we're brought to the light, there's possibilities that show up that aren't in the dark. Yes. Yeah. So this is a part of sharing a pair of glasses, whatever you want to call it, an insight or just a recognition with all of us, because the ability to live that recognition is already available. For some, we just need to be given the permission. For others, we need for the thing to be pointed out, whatever it may be. Here, we hope in this, and I'm not talking about this personal meeting, but the space that is engendered by recovery, yes, and the grace that's there, will trigger whatever needs to be triggered where you are. Be it permission or recognition or absolution or, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. I just wanted to share that thing.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I know. I seen it in you, bro. We're gonna be directed, Mike. We're like a sail. The wind's gonna move us. Yeah. Something's gonna move us in this life. And many of us were moved by the head. And we had an extreme version of it, which was an addiction to self. And it's blown many of us into those same 3 parking spaces, institution, jails, and death. And the great value in that is see how many different people arrive at the same place. So something that's very similar is driving all of us that seem unsimilar, yes? And this is where the relief lies, is seeing in the commonality of the defeat and then the real commonality of the solution. Yeah? Yeah. Where you going, honey? Oh, all right, babe. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to start saying goodbye then, eh? If you want more of this, we'll be here
Okay.
again. We'll be here today at 4:30. Are you going to be there, Mike? Oh, good.
Yes.
4:30 Western time. We have another talk. Yeah. And of course, that which is talking will be here till 4:30 and go on and on and on. All right. Thank you, Michael, for everything. Mickey, as always. Sean in Minnesota. Nice to see you, Sean. Axel, Nikki. I don't know if I met you before, Nikki. If I haven't, welcome. Nice to see you. Yeah. Mia, as always. Steve, San Diego, thank you. Kathleen, back in her home nest. Yes. Martin, John, Terry in Camarillo, Dennis, excuse me, Roman. Say hello to Barbara for me, Roman. All right. Kerry, John in Florida, Joseph, France. We got Chris B, Patricia G, up in Montreal.
You're on your way.
Kathy, Cleveland, James Lebowski, Mark S, Chris Blake. We go into second David's phone and other phones. Paula, Mike M, nice dog, Fletch, Saraswati. Yeah, just give me a call, hon, with I just don't like to type. I'd much rather just riff, it's easier. Danny M, Chris Blake, we got that. Miss Volkman, Oliver, Berlin, Tom M. I think I've got everyone. And if I didn't say goodbye, you're still all included, whoever's here. Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Paul. Great one today.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank
See
you, Paul. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you.
That was really awesome. Wow.
Mm.